everyone, today I'm going to be building my entrance. Now most of this video is going to be a sped up to speed build. There's lots of parts where I am just building. However, I do want to try and talk you through the method behind my madness for what I'm actually trying to achieve. So for my entrance, I do have a vague plan, and a very vague plan at that. I do tend to wing it and make it up as I go along. But I know that for my entrance, I have got quite a lot of space between my airport and my resident services. So I would quite like to have an entrance where you come in, go up a level, and then get fed off down, either left or right, so that you aren't running straight flat towards resident services. So with that in mind, I'm just going to run around a bit in the space, build a few cliffs left and right of me, just so I've got a vague idea of the space I'm working with and how wide I want the entranceway to actually be. So now you're just going to watch an awful lot of me building cliffs. Enjoy! So now I've got the entrance width sort of roughly in place, so I'm going to start building up second levels. My entrance, I'm going for a sort of Fairycore, cottagecore type vibe. Now I'm a very new island, I don't have that many items I can decorate with. I'm still at the early stages of getting recipes and all the basics. So I need my terraforming to really carry a lot of the weight of my entrance, particularly in these early days. So this is also a great video to show you how you don't need much, you don't need all those items to get a beautiful looking entrance. So I'm not very disciplined when it comes to staying on track. So as you can see, I'm already bored of cliff construction. So it's time to bust out my path pattern and see if I can get the flow I want people to run in. So I'm very much faffing around at this stage, putting down the path, trying to work out the direction I want the rest of the cliffs to follow. So I think I've got the direction of travel nailed. Spoiler, I completely changed my mind later on But now again, low boredom threshold, I'm going in for a waterfall. Now, waterfalls I find are a lot of trial and error. So there will be a lot of me building, filling it in, moving levels, pushing things back. I am winging it. I probably should have planned it better, but hopefully it all turns out well in the end. So at this stage, I'm starting to get a bit frustrated that I can't get the second level of my waterfall quite how I want it. So I'm just going to leap straight into creating more of the first level. I'm going to need a lot of land. So hopefully, as I am just cliff top building, inspiration will strike for the top of that waterfall. So at this stage, I'm not really sure how far I want to take the landmass, so I'm just going to chuck up a few blocks around resident services just to try and see or visualize how much space I actually have. My plan is to not be able to see resident services when you are running across my island. I want you to come in either left or right of it, not directly in front. So I'm just seeing how many blocks there are, seeing the space in between what I've already built and what I could build over there. There's a lot of running around gauging the space. I find that the best way to work out the flow of your island is to physically run it as if it was already built, and then you know how much space you've got to run with. Literally. So now it's back to tackling this second level of waterfall. I still don't really have a plan. So again, just a lot of me building, moving, and generally getting a little bit frustrated with the whole thing. Alright, so that'll do. I'm leaving the top section of the waterfall. I'm just leaving it for now. I'll come back to that, and it is back to the joy that is building another layer. So I then spend quite a bit of time building up my first layer, extending what I've already done, and focusing on the left-hand side as well. You may notice I spend quite a bit of time coming back to the airport entrance and looking to see how it's all panning out. Now I want to create a sense of depth. Depth on your island makes your island feel much bigger than it actually is. The best way to create depth on the island is to block the field of vision. If you can see right to the back of the island, then it doesn't seem very big at all. So I'm trying to block views for when you come in off the airport, which is why I keep constantly running back to check that you can't see past what I am building. Another great way to create depth is trees. They're nice and tall, they break up the eye line. So at this point I'm still terraforming but trying to get a gauge of things, so plopping down a few trees. So at this stage I'm starting to think about the waterscaping on this side of the entrance. It gets rather frustrating. I haven't really left myself enough space, frustratingly. I like how my trees are. Peaches are my native fruit, which is why the only fruit tree sitting in the entrance is the peach. But it doesn't really go according to plan, as you will see. as you can probably tell, I'm not happy with that little tiny waterfall. I always feel like waterfalls need a source of water. I don't have room for it, so I'm going to cheat a little bit, go grab a shrub and plant it at the top to disguise how that looks. It's not wrong to have a waterfall like that, it's just my own personal preference. So I'm going to go ahead, plop that down, and then try and tackle the right hand side second level waterfall, which is bugging me this entire time. At this stage, I'm now 2 hours into gameplay. I'm getting a bit tired. I'm getting more than a bit frustrated. So I decide to spend a few minutes just messing about with some decoration to see if I can visualize how it's coming together and if it's what I wanted before taking a break and coming back with fresh eyes the next day. It's a brand new day, and after running around with fresh eyes for a couple of minutes, I've realised what my issue is, and it is the left hand side, and more importantly the left hand side waterfall. I don't like how the bottom of it looks, just being two square blocks. I also don't like that from the right angle you can leap clean over it onto the beach. I wanted to control the flow of people when they come to the island. I didn't want you to be able to access anything and you have to come through my entranceway, which has led me to the rather painful decision that everything needs to be shunted back by 2 blocks just to give myself a bit more space for the left-hand side waterfall. So everything is going back on the left-hand side by 2 blocks. Wish me luck. Now it's time to sort this waterfall on the left-hand side. Another problem I have made for myself in shunting everything back by 2 blocks on the left hand side, I now have my cedar tree and my peach tree aligned with each other, which I don't want, which means I have to tweak the right hand side to push my peach tree back. I don't like having things directly in line if I can avoid it. Offset always looks a bit more natural. Now that crisis has been averted, it's time for a bit of fun light relief by doing a tiny bit of decorating. Now, as I mentioned before, I don't have many items as such, so I will be relying on not only the terraforming, but generic things every island has, some flowers, as well as starting to mess about with my custom paths to get more of the entrance I am after. Now it's time to turn my attention to where I want the incline to get up to this first level, where I want it to be. So a bit more tweaking, building out a little bit, and just general eyeballing it to try and work out where it's going to go. So now that's sorted and all paid off, I'm turning my attention back to the general decorating, messing about with the custom paths, planting a few more flowers. I feel like I'm missing something from my custom paths. I'm not sure what it is. I will no doubt find it at some point. So it will be a work in progress, but I'm working with what I've got for now just to see how it looks, and I'm reasonably happy with it. But eventually this will probably get updated. By now, I am 3 hours into working on my entrance, and I think I'm pretty much done for now. There's more I will do eventually, and obviously behind it needs a lot of work, but for now I'm just going to go ahead, take a look to see how it looks through my camera, obviously get a couple of shots, and then I can't resist coming back at night time to see how it looks with, of course, the beautiful mush lamps and the Nova lights. So I hope this video has given you some insight into my thinking as I work on these things. It's very difficult to explain the thought process when I'm mostly just winging it. I also hope it gives you a few tips and ideas on how to do a very pretty entrance when you are item poor. So until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.